workman. A keg, a plastic bag on a monument. I beg to dream and
Good evening and welcome to Lab Rats, a celebration of all the fantastic work this year on the FdA Media and Film Production at New College Durham. My name is Lewis Smith and I'll be introducing some of the highlights from this year and talking to some of the students that helped make it so special. But let's start off with a small sample of client work that's been produced throughout the year. Roll the titles.
Given the way that international finance works, can there be a solution?
I think more in terms of empowering villages on the village level, community level, but where the government absolutely need to be present.
So before I started working with investing in children, my mental health was really bad.
Well, when I was younger, I've always been brought up around a bad area.
And I wasn't able to talk to someone on the phone or be around people as much. I just used to panic, and ever since I started working with investing in children, it's boosted my confidence up a lot more.
You have to see people who are going through the same as you, really, and you've got fun activities, and if you just describe it to someone who doesn't have diabetes, they'll just think it's like a normal thing that most people go through, really.
I just love the sound of the guitar, love how it played, and want to be able to emulate that myself. Then fast forward 4 or 5 years, I started taking lessons, started kind of taking it a bit more seriously.
So a career development loan could help fund your professional studies. So this is something that you get from a bank. They do have slightly higher interest rates than other student loans, and you can get from £300 to £10,000.
But what would you say to our audience were the key parts of a recipe for filmmaking? What is it that you put down in your notepad?
In terms of an ingredient, I'm a bit chaotic when it comes to film. Of course, you need, a script to make a good film, I think. But to make a film, you need an idea.
Fantastic stuff. Right, we are live, and just to prove that, I am going to go for a little wander. Andrew? So we are here in the Rockin studios. As as you can see, we do have the boys in the studio now doing their thing, but they're not important. Here you all are. Nice to see you all. Welcome, welcome. So, you know, you've avoided a bit of an effort, but you know, it's okay, we don't mind. So who are you here with today?
Scott.
Is it an inspiring moment for you? Are you looking forward to it, yeah? Have you seen any? We are going to be looking at what you've done in level 5. Do you want to quickly introduce this for us?
So you're going to be seeing a short film that I've written and directed called Invasion. Got live. And it's a home invasion film. So it's a little girl called Jess whose house is broken into.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing it. Let's roll the VT.
How long will you be out?
Oh, not long. Couple hours at the most. 10 tops. Oh, and by the way, the landline's still broken, so don't use it. If you need anything, tell your sister when she calls. You. Make sure your sister's in bed by 8.
Why?
Because I'm going out.
Oh,
She's going to a works party. I'll not be long. Be back by 10 at the latest. Right, I'll lock the door.
Okay.
Be good.
Do you think we're going to be safe here?
You what?
A bunch of people have gone missing.
Yeah, I can read, you know. Right, well, I'm sure nothing's going to happen.
How can you be so sure?
Have you seen our streets? It's the crappiest one around. Now it ever happens here, so quit worrying over nothing. Sorry, I didn't mean it like that. We're safe here, okay? Make sure you're in bed by 8.
in my house. I said there's some. See his face. My address. 20 England Street, I think. Get off me! No! I need to put my sister. Leave us alone.
Wow, amazing. Can we have another big round of applause for Invasion? And can we also get Regan and Scott through into the radio room? I'd like to have a chat with them. Hi guys, just take a seat down here. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I'm Lewis, nice to meet you. So, are you happy with how the film turned out overall?
Hell yeah, definitely. Really.
So, was there any technical difficulties, anything like that along the way? Any big problems at all in general that you found?
Nothing technical this time.
Just the huge amounts of rewrites of the script. That was probably.
Yeah, I mean, like looking at the way, I mean, I think there's 9 versions of the screenplay.
Yeah.
Which is
quite a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I started writing this thing in June last year, so here we are in May. So it was quite a lot. I mean, looking at where it was in version 1, technically, I should say there is actually technically a 10th version that we shot.
Oh, so you did a lot of pre-production then?
Yeah, absolutely. Mainly because in the last film that we did, it was a case of literally, from the last thing that we shot, it was about 3 weeks until submission.
Yeah.
And I said, we're never doing that again.
No.
So I mean, literally, I think it was literally on the way back from college on our last day, I was like, right, I'm just going to start writing the next one.
Yeah.
Just to be sure. And we started filming in January, finished in February, and just constant amount of editing and stuff like that until...
Yeah. I'd say the main cause for concern with the script was the way the actors kept changing. We had to like rewrite it, because we originally had a brother and sister.
So I mean, like originally it was going to be a brother and sister dynamic for the for the lead characters, and that was like that all the way until version 8, and then when it came to casting, I think we got 49 responses, which is kind of insane. 3 of them were lads, and the closest one was in Edinburgh. So I thought, I'm
paying for that travel doesn't sound nice.
I'm not paying for like someone to come down from Edinburgh and just do weekends. That's kind of ridiculous, especially like a school day. So I just thought, well, 30 odd girls responded. We'll just
make it 2 sisters instead, and to be honest, it worked out a lot better.
Yeah, turned out great.
Yeah.
I watched the film and it did look really good. Did you overall though? Did you like enjoy? Was that like? Is that your favourite film to date? Would you say?
Definitely.
Well, here's the thing: the last one we made, I have not watched for about 9 months.
No,
it's
hard to go back to.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, this one, I mean, like, it's quite weird because I've been editing this film as well. Like, I've taken too many rules with this film again. I've had to watch this like 1,000 times. So I definitely say this is the best film that I think we've done.
Yeah.
Granted, we've only done 2 together. This is my, I want to say 5th short film, 2nd solo director.
Yeah.
Like other ones I've done like co-directing with. But this is the first film where that I've done that I actually feel very proud with. Because, yeah, there were problems, as like any film does.
Of course.
But this one was pretty relaxing, and I had crew that actually knew what the hell they were doing. But more than that, because on the last film, it was more populated by friends of mine who weren't on this course.
Yeah.
So they didn't have the emotional attachment to the film that we did. So I made sure this time, only people working on it are people who are on this course and, again, know what they're doing.
You could see a huge difference.
Oh, yeah,
once
absolutely.
You got actual people who knew what they were doing.
Especially with the last one we had lack of equipment. It was a case of we had 1 camera, 1 tripod, and a boom mic. That was it.
Lack of actual professional actors as well.
Yeah, this is actually the first time this, well, outside of me. Outside of me, everyone who works as an actor in this has done acting in the past. The guy who plays the father, he was in the last one we did as well. And then there's me being the guy who burgles the house. That wasn't meant to happen.
No.
It was actually meant to be, there was a friend of mine, he's, the only reason that I wanted him to play the part was because he's 6'10".
Yeah.
Which is just freaky on its own. But then stuff happened, and I was like, nah, I'm gonna have to do it because I don't know anyone else who's like that height. And to be honest, even though I didn't have to say anything, it was quite fun.
Yeah.
It's always nice to have a cameo in your own film.
Well, in the last one I cameoed as a dead body, so you know that's it's come full circle, and now. Well, actually, that's interesting. The first shot in the last one with me is a dead body.
Yeah.
The first shot of me in this one is me dragging a dead body.
Yeah.
And then the cameos of me was just loads of appearing in mirrors in cupboards with a camera.
The long take that we did, because I think that's the stuff that we were the most proud of. It was towards the end of the shoot when we were doing, because he's obsessed with doing long takes, and we had the Steadicam with us. So we thought, okay, we'll try and fit that in. And the size of the house, I thought, you know what, I think it would be a good idea to have just like a long tracking shot right through the house, just to show how big this house actually is. I won't say where it is because they probably don't want to tell us. But yeah, I think that was the biggest issue, just like reflections. Because I think you made a cameo in that long take 3 times. Now, granted, the way the projector is, you can't actually see it.
No,
we didn't.
So you're lucky.
Yeah, I'm lucky this time around.
And then Dan, our sound recordist, he actually made a cameo in the shot when our lead actress runs from the kitchen back into the hall, and that's actually 2 different takes that we've cut together, because in one take, Dan is just casually standing by the door in the background in just like a bright black and white top.
I think if you kept that in, it would still be creepy, because he used to stand like a gremlin in the doorway.
Yeah.
Well, overall, it was a really good film, and like honestly, well done to you both again, because it was a really good film. But now we have been treated to a visual fest, as you've just seen, but let's listen to some audio in the form of a podcast produced by Daniel Quinn. We'll speak to Dan in a bit, but first let's have a listen to the section of his show, Roxy's Punk Rockin' Podcast.
Hello, and welcome to the first episode on Roxy's Punk Rockin' Podcast. This first series is dedicated to the history of punk, detailing in great depth the origins of punk rock. This first episode is going to detail how punk emerged from the brief garage rock period in America. So let's take a trip back down to the late 1960s in America. During the 1960s, classic American rock music had reached its expiration date. The style, better known as rock and roll, was dull. There was nothing creative about it. The flair it once had was simply
Boring!
Yes, that's right, boring. However, that began to change with the emergence of garage rock, which acted as a sort of foundation for the creation of punk rock. Garage rock, also known as 60s punk, is a raw and energetic style of music that emerged in the late 1960s. Garage rock incorporates the use of basic chord structures and often distorted guitars, which were of course distorted via a fuzz box. Aside from instruments, garage rock's lyrical content delivered aggressive and often unsophisticated lyrics, which later appealed to groups of amateur musicians who would play in the family garage, hence the term garage rock. During the late 1960s, the first building block of punk rock emerged. After garage rock's brief success rate within the United States, a genre known as proto-punk emerged. The likes of the Stooges, Velvet Underground, and MC5.
Something snapped inside, made me want to hide.
Credited proto-punk artists who would later go on to internationally inspire the future punk movement.
I am an anti-Christ. I am an anarchist. Don't know what I want, but I know how to get it. I want to destroy, possibly, 'cause I want to be anarchy.
Now, you're probably thinking, what is proto-punk? The answer to which is through a pretty damn good interpretation by AllMusic, a website dedicated to music information. Proto-punk was never a cohesive movement, nor was there readily identifiable proto-punk sound that made its artists seem related at the time. What ties proto-punk together is a certain proactive society that didn't fit prevailing counterculture of the time. It was consciously subversive and fully aware of its outsider status. In terms of its lasting influence, much proto-punk was primitive and stripped down, even when it wasn't aggressive, and its production was usually just as unpolished. It also frequently dealt with a taboo subject matter, depicting society's grimy underbelly in great detail, and often venturing alienation that was more intense and personal than ever before. So, with that definition, I think it's more than fitting we play some proto-punk. So here's a classic for you all, The Stooges, I Wanna Be Your Dog.
So, great work, Dan. Has punk rock always been something you've been inspired by?
Yeah, definitely from a young age, I'd say. But it was really sort of 70s punk music really sort of turned my inspiration around, if you like.
Yeah.
Sex Pistols, The Clash, The Jam, like all that sort of stuff really.
How did you get into that like genre of music?
Long story really. I mean, I always liked punk as a kid, but like when you're born in the 1990s, you sort of have to grow up with the popular.
The norms of that era, so that radio show, with it being like a punk outcast, has that always been like through Level 5? Has that always been your like main focus to do something like that?
Yeah.
I suppose it was easier with you having an interest in it. It's like you kind of already knew quite a lot, and you knew what was good, what wasn't good, and what people would gel with and what people wouldn't gel with. So yeah, but it was really good. We are also joined by Francis. What you're doing audio as well. What is it that you're doing for your spa?
Mine's a bit different to Dan's. It's more pop punk, so it's more like sort of kind of like punk, but kind of like the modern version of it.
Yeah. So again, is that something that you've always been like?
Oh yeah. Like my dad got me into the music I'm into now.
Yeah.
Like when I was probably about 8 or 9 year old. So ever since it's sort of stuck with me, and I've just branched out to more and more bands really.
That always is the thing. You always like tend to like hear something your parents listen to, and then like, oh, I quite like that, and then go listen to it yourself. So I'm assuming as well with you for your radio show, that was always it was going to be like a pop punk themed.
Pretty much from the start of Level 5. Yeah, I thought that.
Yeah, well, we're going to have a listen to it now. So without further ado, let's listen to Fran's UAPR Radio.
So that was Fat Lip, Screaming Bloody Murder and The Hell Song, all by Sum 41. So, it's now time for their fact file. My first fact on Sum 41 is they actually started off as a NoFX cover band named Casper, which is very unusual for me actually, considering how much of a massive band they are today. My next fact about Sum 41 is based around the vocalist Derek Whibley. Now, Sum 41 are a Canadian band. Who else is Canadian? Avril Lavigne. Derek Whibley and Avril Lavigne were actually married, but unfortunately in 2009 they separated, which is such a shame because Avril Lavigne was one of my childhood favourites. I adored her and I still listen to her even to this day. She's still a bit of a soft spot for me. My next fact about Sum 41 is about the guitarist Dave. He's also known as Dave Brownsound. He's actually a massive Newcastle supporter. I know this because I actually met him. I met him in 2016 when Sum 41 were playing the Kerrang tour. I was with my friend outside the venue, we were just sat down and I saw a guy and he was on FaceTime and it looked just like Dave. So I said to my friend, we'll approach him once he's finished his conversation. So, we saw he was off FaceTime, we walked over, I literally said to him, "Are you Dave?" And he chuckled and he said yes. And he was wearing a woolly Newcastle United hat. And I asked, how come he's wearing that? Is it because they're playing Newcastle? He said, no, he's actually a massive fan of Newcastle United. And he used to live in Newcastle because he had a girlfriend over here. That's actually pretty insane considering they came all the way from Canada, that he supports Newcastle United and he actually lived over here. I just think that's amazing, especially to be up here in the northeast. Considering this is where I was born and raised, the northeast of England. It's just so cool and mind-blowing for me. This is my last fact on Sum 41 today. It's a bit more serious, but important. In 2016, Derek Whibley almost died from alcoholism. He collapsed one night and was taken to hospital, where he was told if he had another sip of alcohol again, he would die. Now he's turned his life around and Sum 41 are continuously producing amazing albums. They've had one more out since this happened and it was fantastic. So well done to you, Derek, for turning your life around, and I hope you are full of health. So, this next band coming up is always very requested. I love this band, but I went through a phase of not listening to them for a long time. Doesn't mean I love them any less though, they still hold a special place in my heart. The next band coming up is All Time Low. We're going to have some tracks by them, as well as some fact files put together by me on them. The songs by All Time Low we've got coming up for you are in this order, and they are Dear Maria Count Me In, Coffee Shop Soundtrack and Somewhere in Neverland. They're coming up right now, so stay tuned, otherwise you'll miss them, and you don't want to be missing these. These are classics.
I got your picture, I'm coming with you, dear Maria, count me in. There's a story at the bottom of this bottle, and I'm the pen.
Okay, welcome back. Okay, welcome back. I thought I'd give Lewis a bit of a break. Incidentally, Lewis is a first-year student on the FdA, as are all of the crew tonight. I wanted to take a minute just to thank all of the students from this year's film and media course. Firstly, because I've known most of them for a long time, and to be honest, it's going to be hard to say goodbye. But secondly, because they were quite literally my lab rats. Thanks for the show name, Owen. They've been the first set of graduates from the media course and have been instrumental in making it happen and making it a success. So, thank you. I'd also like to thank some people at New College, the lecturing staff, Dave, Eva, Simon, Scott, our managers, Veronica and Peter, and our technicians, Dan and Haley. I'd also like to thank Rocking Horse Studios for having us here tonight. I think they deserve a round of applause. They are a great resource for musicians locally, and I happen to know we'll be working with them again really soon, so stay tuned for that. So on with the show, and a quick look at something our Level 4 students have been working on. We've been developing a film in collaboration with Durham County Council about cyber safety. This was written and directed by Alex Harvey, and with help from Dan, Lewis and Andrew. It was a huge fun to film, and we'll be premiering the film in June. But for now, here's a trailer for you to look at.
Thanks, Stu. Like you said, I did work on Hack, and it was quite fun to work with Durham County Council and the police, and it was just an all-round fun experience getting people from performing arts and everything like that. But now on with the show, my guest, DOA Productions, except we are without the D. Can you explain that to us, please?
Davie's in Tenerife.
Yeah. Oh, so that's more important.
Yeah, it's not really a very exciting story. Just couldn't be bothered to be here.
Oh, well,
so,
well, there you go. Well,
yeah.
We're with OA Productions instead. Yeah. Speaking of the name, you are quite renowned within college, DOA Productions itself. Like, everybody does know of that. How did that start? Like, were you friends before, or?
So basically, in level 4, we kind of like used to work alongside a lot. And then like in level 5, I'm pretty sure. Oh, what are you doing here?
Technical difficulties.
Okay, thank you.
Error.
So in level 5, I kind of just turned on them and said, "Do you want to make a business?" And they were like, "I don't know. How did you react when I first said it?"
I think at first I was like, "Oh, it's a bit of fun."
Yeah.
And then we kind of, I don't know, we started making, like the kind of shows, silly shows and stuff, and then we started doing actual like corporate work as well.
Oh, right.
And then that's when I kind of thought, oh, this is actually starting
to go somewhere.
We're starting to do stuff here. So it did really start just a bit of fun.
Yeah.
And then we kind of got through our first crack at the system, and then we did DJs, and we kind of like after that, it just like after you get your first client work going,
Yeah.
It like keeps rolling on.
But I kind of know where this question's going to go, but just a little bit of inside gossip. Who's the least, like, who slacks the most out of DOA? Just get some, let's get the ball rolling here.
Are we just going to agree to say Davie because he's not here?
Yeah,
Davie.
Well, I mean, he can't defend himself, so...
He can't defend himself, so that's who we're picking.
And that's your fault, Davie.
We can't be saying any like wrong words to the press because they'll just manipulate us.
No, to be fair, I think we all actually, like, genuinely, we all work as hard as each other. Like, we're always calling, talking, chatting, all that type of stuff.
It's nice to have you be able to say to your like other teammates, "Oh yeah, you're slacking."
Yeah.
Come on.
But I don't think we've ever had to do that.
No.
Well, you've clearly been putting in some hard work. Do you want to introduce this clip that we're going to be showing that you've been working on level 5 and what it is?
You're the one who edited it, Andre.
So it's not actually the full This Is Tim.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a preview. It's about, I think it's about 8-9 minutes long.
All right.
And it's kind of a remake of what we did last year.
Yeah.
Last year probably didn't go as well as we wanted to, so we thought, right, we'll do it again this year, and we'll see, where did we go wrong.
Yeah.
And we've tried to improve it, and I think we've done an okay job.
Yeah, it's not finished yet, but
no,
it will get finished soon.
We just
bits and bobs here and there.
We don't really want to.
You're working with multiple people.
Yeah.
Getting everyone in the same place.
We don't want to rush it because.
Yeah. Well, you can't rush perfection.
Yeah, that's what we decided. We decided we're not rushing it, so take as long as it takes.
We'll see what you've got. So, this is Tim.
Yeah. You know what? I think since I met you, my life's changed for the better. Right? Just this thing, 6 months ago, I was slinging dope to teenagers, waiting for the DPD vans to show up so I could nick the shit. Now I'm sat here, and the booze is flowing, and the sun's shining, and with a beautiful woman. Like, what more could a man ask for?
Aww.
This park brings back some memories, cracking memories. See that bench over there? I used to shag proper tens on there. Much fitter than you, like. One lass had a proper lush arse, but she wouldn't just sit there like some get soggy lettuce or out.
Brilliant. So you spent 90% of your time shafting women on that park bench at night?
Nah, not nice. Half an hour on my little dinner break when I used to work at the trampoline shop, gone for a quickie.
What about the kids?
I'm not going to shag them, you sick f***. couch in a while. I'll check to see you, make sure anyone's in. Oh. Tim! Tim? Oh, trying to prowl around the creep cupboard. Dear diary, my face hurts. Today, I tried to save a girl from a horrible mugging. Unfortunately, it turned out he was just handing her her bag. Shame I didn't find that out before I tried to punch him in the face. My mummy says it's just a bruise, but I'm convinced my nose is lopsided. On the plus side, I have a date.
Amen.
Dear diary, things just go from bad to worse. Mummy and Daddy have finally decided to move away to Thailand. She said it'll bring her better opportunities with her work. On the bright side, me and Brittany have finally decided to take a big step in our relationship and move in together. No longer will our parents hear me weep after we have sex.
Amy, you're being quite a dick right now. Although you did cry a lot after sex.
Finally, I gave Brittany an orgasm.
That's just not true.
Dear diary, last few weeks have been rough. My parents have finally moved out. And Brittany broke up with me. However, on the plus side, I had a Tinder date. I truly thought I was about to embark on a journey of love. A journey as good as Adam and Eve. However, this story turned out to be the Adam and the Steve. That's right, my Tinder date was male. A big, butch male at that. I believe I'm now entitled to a large glass of Shandery. Oh, this one's gold. I've been hiding this to myself for a long time. I convinced myself that I didn't care, or that I could find someone else. I was wrong. I told myself that I could get over it and move on. I was wrong. I told myself I didn't love her anymore. I was wrong. What a crock of shit. Oh, shit. Shit.
What?
No. Oh. Well, it says here that he's got a new job at,
What? What?
says he's at the Kazo cult.
What is that?
Think of the most revolting place imaginable and then times it by 10.
Oh, Jesus.
Aye, that's fantastic. I mean, like, but in all seriousness, if you can just picture Tim hooked up to a machine, you know, getting milked like a cow, then I think you can imagine.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
I'm saying that he's probably there right now having his man juice drained off him by some 50-year-old woman in her middle ages who wants to have his babies illegally.
Wow, amazing work. I can't wait to see that episode again in full. Can we have one more round of applause, please, for DOA Productions, Davie, Andre and Owen? And that, I am afraid, is all we've got time for this evening, but you'll be able to see all the films that you've just seen today and more at vimeo.com/ncdmedia. And please tell your family, your friends, strangers in the street about what we do, because we love it and we hope you do too. So, it just remains to say goodbye from me, all of us here at Rockin Horse Studios, and from all of the lab rats at the FdA Media Film and Production course and New College Durham. Good night.